Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. We will be waiting for just a couple of minutes and then we can begin. Thank you, everybody that is joining now. Welcome, everyone that just joined. We're going to just wait for a couple more minutes and then we can begin with the masterclass today. Okay, right now it's 2:01. We will wait till 2:03 and then we can begin with the masterclass, guys. Okay, while we wait, just to make a quick comment, at the end of the session, you guys can make any question through the webinar chat. If you want to make the questions throughout the presentation, please go ahead. I will try to respond as much questions so that I can at the end of the presentation. Quick summary of today's masterclass. We're going to be reviewing a couple of points of new features that we have deployed in our last release in December. This should not be a very long masterclass. This should take around 30 minutes. At the end, as I mentioned, we're going to go and open the room for questions. The idea is that you get a lot more clarity in our new features and the new deployments that we have implemented in the platform last December. Let's wait just for one more minute and then we can begin. Okay. Okay. Just one more thing before we begin. This masterclass is being recorded, guys. So the copy of the recording will arrive to your email later on once this recording is processed. If it does not arrive or if you cannot find it, please reach out to your corresponding CSM so they can share the recording of the meeting with you. Okay. I will begin now. As mentioned before, this is going to be a webinar or a masterclass focused on the new features that we have implemented in the last December release. We're going to be focusing on that. At the end, I'm going to review your questions that you can send me in the chat throughout the meeting or at the end of the meeting. There's no problem there. I will be responding to all the questions that I can at the end. As mentioned a couple of minutes ago, this shouldn't be a very long masterclass. It should take tops 30 minutes. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and then we can begin with the masterclass. Okay, you should be seeing my screen right now. So let's start with the first point in the agenda for today, and that's going to be basically our new folders function. As you know, before in the platform, on the left-hand side where we have the main control panel here on the left, you had this folder icon that show you in a little pop-up the evaluations that you have worked at, all the evaluations you have worked at, and you were able to search them by name. Now that function is stored in here in the recent valuations button. Basically, here you can access the same pop-up. You can search the valuations by name. You will see the last valuations that you have worked in the last 3 months, not all your valuations. And now the folder button will take you to a new screen completely. Okay. This new screen basically will allow you to organize a little better your valuations. Here you will see a list of all the valuations that you have worked at. Basically, they are all right here. And you can now organize them in folders. Okay, the folder organization is very, very simple and straightforward. You can create new folders at the top right corner in the blue button. So I'm going to just hit create folder and I'm just going to call this one Masterclass. Okay. Once I create that folder, it will appear on my list in a couple of seconds. This takes just a couple of seconds to work. And then you have Masterclass right here. If I access Masterclass, of course, it is going to be empty. And it's very simple to move valuations to a new folder. Okay. Once you're in this screen, you can just select the valuations that you want to move. Basically, I'm going to select these first 5. And then at the top right below the create folder button, you will have the move button. Here you can just select the folder where you want to move the valuations. So let's go to Masterclass. Let's just move them. And these basically will move the valuations in a couple of seconds. Once you do not see the valuations anymore, you can access the folder Masterclass, and basically you will see the 5 valuations that we just moved. Okay? Again, this is a pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use feature. If you end up deleting a full folder on the right-hand side, all the valuations inside, they are not going to be deleted. They're going to be just or passed back to the main folder where you have all your valuations right here. Okay. That's the first point in the agenda, something very quick, as I mentioned, nothing too complex. Now, the second point that we're going to go ahead and review is going to be when it comes to creating a new valuation. Okay? As we did a show a couple of months before in our September or October release, we added the option to start evaluation with AI. Basically, just with the name of a company, AI could scrape data and give you the company description and some data important for our evaluation purposes, as basically the company location, industry, currency, maturity, and even similar public comps. Now we have added a new step in the evaluation process. So once you get to the private markets module, you're going to have the option to start your evaluation with uploading supporting documentation. The idea here is that you can upload a PDF file. Basically, with that PDF file, AI will scrap the data and will bring that exact same information, but from the data that you provide to the platform. Our idea in the long term is that this PDF data or these files are not only there to extract qualitative information, but it will also be able for you to extract some financial information like historical data or financial statements. Again, at the moment, this is just qualitative assessment for starting the valuation name, location, currency, what I just mentioned. In the future, midterm, we want to actually go ahead and give you the ability, guys, to extract financial information from these PDF files. Okay. This is a feature that we just implemented, so you can start to test that out as soon as you create a valuation. It's an optional step, as you can see right here. If you do not have the supporting documentation, there's no problem with that. You can just continue and go ahead and start with the company name. This will basically start a new process with AI and basically extract the information from public sources. For the next points, I'm going to go ahead and open a valuation that I already have worked at. Okay. And we're going to start basically on the business plan section of the valuation. Within the business plan section, we're going to be reviewing 2 new topics or 2 new features that we have implemented. The first has to do with benchmarking. Okay. If you guys remember, we have the benchmarking here at the top, and this is the old benchmarking way to looking at the comparables or comparable forecast, or again, sorry to be redundant, benchmarking for a company. On our last release in October, we added the option to benchmark not only with public comps. Remember, we can use public comparables. This is going to be the companies that you select as comparables in the next step. Of course, this list is editable. You can change it. When you first get to the business plan, this will be recommendations made by the platform, but of course, you can change that later on. Here you will see the list of comparables that you have selected, their expected sales growth rate on year-by-year basis, and at the bottom of the table, you have the 25th percentile, median, and 75th percentile, as well as your applied metrics. So in this case, if you have manipulated or changed the numbers, these will not be the same because we're not using benchmarking data. You're going to see tables for net sales growth, other operating expenses, and then we added the option for you to benchmark versus the industry. Okay. When you want to benchmark versus the industry, you're going to see the industry worldwide in your region. In this case, this is a Latin American company, and in your country. In this case, this is Peru. Okay. You can see that I cannot use Peru because for you to use the industry benchmark, we have a minimum requirement of 15 companies per benchmark. So that's why we cannot use Peru to actually forecast. But this is the old way on how we actually show benchmark. With the new update in the December release, within the financial projections, you have a more dynamic way or checking the 4 options of benchmark. Right next to net sales, you're going to see our Copilot logo right next to the tooltip that shows you the formula of the account. And if you click on it, basically a pop-up will come on screen and it will show you the benchmarking based on the different magnitudes that I just showed. So right now we're working with the median. So basically you have your applied metrics. That's the orange line, sorry, the number that you are using in your forecast. The public comps that you have selected are going to be that red line right there. The white line is going to be the industry benchmark in Latin America, and the blue line is going to be the industry benchmark globally. As mentioned, we're not using the industry benchmark in the country because we do not have 15 companies to actually benchmark. But you have the graphic right here, and basically you can check the graphic for the median, 75th percentile, and 25th percentile as well, with the same magnitudes as you can see there. Okay. You can use the same benchmarking option for all the same accounts that you had in the benchmarking tab right here. So basically, wherever you see the Copilot button right there, you can check, for example, your EBIT margins. Basically, you have the median and the different magnitudes right there. The table here is dynamic. Okay, so it will change with every valuation and with, of course, every account that you review and that you select in your business plan. Guessing so far so good. I see there's no questions at the moment on the chat. That's good to that's good to see. Okay. Just one more comment there. The benchmarking tab may be hidden. Okay, with this update, we have hidden it like by default. You can reactivate it and open it at the top right corner on the More button under Value Plan Settings. You're gonna see a Tabs section, and you're gonna find benchmarking right there. By default, now this will be turned off. Okay, so it will look like this. But if you want to turn it on, you can do it as I just did, just the other way around. Now, a new feature that we have implemented into this step of the evaluation process comes in the Adjustments tab. If you remember, on our August release, we changed this to be net asset value tab. Sorry for that. We just renamed it to Adjustments tab because we have implemented also normalization of earnings adjustments into the platform. Okay. What we had before was just 1 year of historical data, and we had this table at the bottom. Basically, we were able to see all of your assets, all of your liabilities as well, and you were able to make some fair market value adjustments to the accounts in both the asset side and in the liability side. For example, if you revalued your fixed assets and they are now valued at $1,000 more, or 1 million in this case, you can just input that amount, and the platform will calculate your recovery ratio and your adjusted value of the asset. Okay. You can do the same for your liabilities. Adjust, for example, your debt. Let's say we negotiate a 5% discount on our debt, so we can just say that the recovery ratio is going to be 95%, and basically the platform will calculate the adjustment and show you the adjusted value of the debt. At the end, why this is here? Because we're doing an adjusted net asset value evaluation method based on assets. Basically, what we're going to do now is take all the adjusted assets, subtract all the adjusted liabilities, and basically we're going to have the adjusted net asset value of the company. This valuation method is also going to be available at the end of the valuation process within the valuation overview. Now, what is new in the platform is this top part right here, the income statement adjustments and the cash flow adjustments. Okay. So let me take one step back to go to financial projections and add a couple of data points in here for sales, just to make you a better example. Okay. And then let me just go ahead and input. Basically, we can work from there. Within the adjustments tab, we're going to see that we have all the 5 historical years available that we are working on. If you just have uploaded 3, there's no problem. You can just work with 3. But basically here we're going to be seeing the actual numbers for our sales, EBITDA, EBIT, net income, free cash flow, flow to equity, and dividends for each of the years. And we can add up to 5 adjustments per each account. Okay. The adjustments you can rename. For example, if you want to adjust your EBITDA for owner's compensation, you can just go ahead and input that as an adjustment name right there. That adjustment name will be replied under that cash flow adjustments, but they are independent from one year to the other. And basically, we can just say that we're going to go ahead and add back, let's say, 1,000 USD for the owner's compensation adjustments. On the right-hand side, you can see that 2023 adjusted, and you see now that the value is 16,000 instead of the 15,000 that we had before. If you want to explain your decision or why you're applying any of these adjustments, okay, it's pretty simple and straightforward. You can just go ahead on the rationale box, explain why are you making the change, and basically this rationale and all the adjustments will also be printed into your final valuation report. Okay. I see we have a couple of questions already. Before we continue, let me check on those. So David, the peer set used on the benchmarking, it's exactly the same as the one in the peer selection. Okay. Once you make changes in your peer selection, you can come back here and again in more, you can just refresh the business plan and it will update the peers that you have in your peer list in the benchmarking section. Okay. And Tyron, at the moment, it's not possible to actually go ahead uh, and change the currency of evaluation once the evaluation it has been created. Okay, we are working on an update that will allow for this, but at the moment that's not possible. Okay, so I think that respond to both of the questions we have open right now. So I'm gonna just go ahead and continue with this explanation and how this is gonna go ahead and affect the actual valuation, because this is gonna go and add some valuation methods and adjust other valuation methods. Now, you can see that at the top, you see there's a summary and weights tab right here, and that's basically what the platform is going to take as an input for the new valuation methods and to adjust our capitalized earnings valuation methods. Here in the summary and weights tab, you're going to see all of the adjusted years. For example, we have adjusted 21, 22, and 23. I have not made any adjustments for 2021 or 2022. If you want to make those adjustments, for example, I go back to 2022 and I said unregistered expenses. Okay, so I'm going to reduce my bid in this case in 2000. You can do both ways, like a positive or negative numbers here, so there's no problem. The color logics are going to still apply. Blue cells are going to be manual inputs, red cells are going to be errors. And at the summary and weights tab right here, basically now you can see the adjusted value of the EBITDA in 2022, 8,000 instead of the original 10,000 here. Now, by default, the platform is always going to take 100% of the values from the last adjusted historical year, but you can see a weighted average column here. This column is the one that the platform is going to use for the capitalized earnings valuation methods, and it's also going to use that for the adjusted multiple valuation methods. Now, you're going to have the ability to have actuals and adjusted valuation methods both for trading comps and transaction comps for the last historical year. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, the default is the last adjusted year, 2023. In this case, is 100%, but this, of course, is manually editable, as you can see here. So if I want to consider also 2021 and 2022 data into my valuation, I can just say that this is going to be 80% of value. You can see that this becomes red. This will not allow me to continue because there's an error. This needs to be 100%. So I just can input here 10% and 10% here. Okay. Now you see the three cells at the bottom, they have turned blue, and on the right-hand side, you have different values as the one in 2023 because we're using a weighted average right here. Okay. Now, to respond a couple of questions that we have regarding this feature, Rutendo, if you have more than 5 adjustments, how will these be reflected or captured? My advice here at the moment is for the adjustments, just input the 4 more relevant ones or the highest value, and adjustment number 5 can be named others, and just add up all the other adjustments that you need to apply. Okay. At the moment, Roshan, it's not possible to add more than 5 adjustments, but guys, remember that in the feedback calls with your CSM, you can give us recommendations. So if this is a feature that you would like to see in the future, let us know, and we can just mention these to our product team so they can develop this in future developments. Okay? Always remember that we work with Agile methodology, and all the features that we implement, including this one, come from your feedback. So your feedback is very, very important for us. Okay. Now, that being said, I think there's nothing more or nothing new to review here in this step of the process. So now we're going to go to the next step, that is going to be the selection, where we have one new update. Is not a huge update like this one or not a new tool, but it is for sure an update that will bring a lot of value to you on your search for comparables. And this has to do with the advanced search in the platform. Remember, you have an advanced search at the top right corner. Last October, we revamped our advanced search for transaction comparables, where we added a couple of filters. Remember, we added the available multiples. You could select which multiples you had available, and we added the company type and dataset filters as well. Now, peer selection was left a little bit behind. So what we did in this release is we added more filters in the advanced search section. And these filters come from the feedback that you guys gave us. So we have the classic filters, full text search, industry, country, company name, and market cap. But we also added the option to find available multiples. So if you want to find companies that for sure have EBITDA or EBIT multiples, you can actually go ahead and do that. And you can, if you select any of these options, you can also set the ranges for those multiples available. Okay. Now, besides that, if you show all filters, you can actually set ranges of sales, EBITDA, EBIT, and net income of the companies that you want to search. And basically, you can search these companies now based on these ranges. Okay, I see there's a couple of new questions that came in. Let's review those. That's a good question, but at the moment we have decided to make each of the adjustments independent. Okay, so you need to adjust independently all of the accounts. If you want to have the same effects of EBITDA adjustments in EBIT, you just need to copy and paste the adjustment. There's no problem there. In case there's an extra adjustment for EBIT, you can apply the extra adjustment as well. David, not at the moment. That's also something that we're working on, guys. For those of you that have not seen the question of David, he's asking if we now can assign different weights to different valuation methods. That's not something that's possible at the moment. That's something we're reviewing to develop in the future. Okay, but at the moment, this is the new update that we have here. As mentioned, not a huge tool, but a very useful update that will allow you to find better comparables in cases you're trying to go ahead and find companies with a certain range of EBITDA or EBIT, net income, or sales. Now, the last feature I want to show to you guys is one that has been requested before by you a lot, and it has to do with the export and the reports. As you are aware, we have some reports, some updates in the reports already. We have added the IACPA report, and we have revamped our NACVA report as well. So for you guys in the US or North America that follow these standards, these reports are now compliant. You can export both directly here, and all the specific inputs for your company, you're going to find the spaces there to make changes and adjust. But the most important thing that we have implemented and added here, you can actually see it already under custom reports, is the custom PowerPoint report in the platform. Okay. At the moment, this does not work as a Word report that you can just bring an empty PowerPoint, add some placeholder, and add it to the platform. But what you can do is edit and change our PowerPoint report here and make it look a little bit more tailored to your needs and what you actually want to extract from the platform. So how would you set a custom PowerPoint report? It's pretty straightforward. At the top right corner, you have the Add a Custom Template button. And here you're now going to have two options: create a Word template or manage the PowerPoint template. If we go to manage, we're going to see all the sections of the PowerPoint right here. So basically, the sections can now be moved over. So if you want to have your trading multiples before your DCF or your transaction multiples also before your DCF, you can move sections around. You can also hide entire sections. So if you do not want to show other valuation methods, you can just go ahead and hide that entire section. But you can do exactly the same also with slides. So if I select Executive Summary, you're going to see all the slides that I have in that section. You can move the slides around. Okay. If you do not want to show any of the slides, you can also hide them. And basically, if you select any of them, you're going to see a quick preview here. Now, on the right-hand side, of course, you can rename the template. You can give the name of the template whatever you want. You can change the font of the template. Basically, we can use any of these fonts: Arial, Calibri, Cambria, Source Sans Pro, Tahoma, or Times New Roman. It depends totally on you. And now you do not only have the options to change the primary and secondary colors, but also the tertiary color. So you can actually make the change directly here. It's going to update automatically, so you can see a preview. I'm going to change the secondary color here so you have a better look. Okay, so basically you can see that this is updated automatically as I keep going, and you can actually see a preview of the colors as you go through the presentation. Okay. Now, on the right-hand side, you have this settings button that will allow you to change the name of the template again and to turn off the Valutico logo in the report. So if you do not want the Valutico logo to be imprinted in the first page, basically you can see here at the bottom, you can just disable this and the Valutico logo won't be included in your report. At the bottom right corner, then you can just save your template. So basically, let's rename it to Masterclass again, and basically just click Save. Once this is saved, when you go to your export section, in a couple of seconds, you would be able to see the Masterclass template under custom reports. I don't know, guys, if you have any questions up to this point. I just refreshed my page. Don't worry about it. I want to see if that appears there. At the moment, that's not possible, David. We cannot filter by EBITDA margin. We can filter by EBITDA range. Okay. Again, if this is a feature that you want to see implemented in the platform, please send us an email, send an email to your dedicated CSM, and they will be able to reach out to the product team so they can actually go ahead and start working on that. Tyron, regarding your questions for last 12-month multiples, yes, that's something that we're considering and working on at the moment. We actually have a couple of workshops internally to review this topic. I cannot give you an estimate, but it is something that we're working on and that we plan to implement in the future in the platform. Rosan, yes, of course, you can add your firm's logo. Remember, on the profile button right here, you have all your settings. And under business information, you can come ahead and upload your company logo. That logo will be imprinted in your valuation report. Disregarding if you have the Valutico logo turned on or off, your logo will still be imprinted. If you turn off the Valutico logo, of course, this will be the only logo that we imprint. Justin, at the moment, it's a yes and no kind of question. So a valuation, it's an independent workspace at the moment. So if you want another user to work on that valuation, you need to share a copy with them. To share a copy of a valuation, it's a pretty straightforward process. Let me just open one project real quickly. The one that we were just working. Okay, so basically on the valuation screen, on the valuation overview, at the top right corner, you're gonna find a share button. Basically here, you're gonna find a hyperlink, and this hyperlink needs to be shared with the other person that is gonna use the valuation. And remember, you're sharing a copy of the valuation, so the changes will not be automatically seen by the person that originally shared the valuation, but you will need to reshare it once it has been edited so they can copy it back to their portfolio. And Jorge, about expanding the number of year columns on the business plan, yes, of course, you can add up to 10 years of forecast and up to 5 years of historicals. When it comes to adjustments, given we just can add a 5-year of historicals, you can just have 5-year of adjustments. But within the business plan, if you want to add or remove years for your forecast, remember at the top right corner, you're going to have the time frame button right here. And basically here you can change the start point, so we can have up to 5 years of historical data and the end point up to 10 years of forecasted data as well. Rutendo, about the cover, that's something that we're gonna work for in the upcoming releases. The cover at the moment is gonna be that static image, but we're gonna give you the ability in the future to change the cover image so it matches your preference as well. Jorge, in the PowerPoint should show all the forecasted year that you have. In the PowerPoint, we do not show historical data, just 1 year of historical data, because all the valuation methods just base that valuation on those years. Justin, again, if that's a request that you have, please go ahead and send us an email to your dedicated system. I'm already taking notes as well of these questions and requests. Don't worry about it. But it will be better if we have that in writing with your corresponding CSM so they can input that request on your behalf. At the moment, Rotendo, we cannot expand the lifespan of the project for more than 10 years. But again, if this is something that you require for certain projects, please go ahead and reach out to your dedicated CSM, state the case, and let them know that this is something important for you. That request would be input on your behalf. And again, guys, the more requests that we have, the fastest that we can actually go ahead and implement those features. Okay? So I see there's no more questions at the moment. One more thing I want to show you guys is going to be in the valuation overview. And with that, I think we're going to be done unless you have more questions. So within the valuation overview, you're now going to see or have the ability to turn on more valuation methods. As you can see here, we have enterprise value EBITDA 2023 actuals and EV EBITDA 2023 adjusted. And we have the same for the transaction costs. As you can see, the difference is very minimum because I have made a very slight change. But now these adjusted valuation methods are available for you. So you can just go ahead and show the difference between the value of the company once you adjust a multiple an earning stream or stuff like that. Also, the capitalized earnings methods, and the 4 of them, I'm just going to go ahead and turn on. The capitalized earnings method numbers are going to be based on the adjusted values that we actually set in the normalization of earnings tab or the adjustments tab in the business plan. So the capitalized earnings free cash flow to firm, you can see basically the results. If you go to the details of the valuation methods, basically you have an adjustments line right here. This adjustment line comes directly from the adjustments tab in the business plan section. So this will not be an input anymore in the change parameters tab. This is an input that comes from the business plan. So we have two more questions. So David, the base year to be year end on Jan 2025. At the moment, that's not possible because we're currently in January. As soon as we move to February, you are going to be able to input the evaluation end date or that last fiscal year end date on January 2025. Okay? At the moment, the latest that you can do is December 2024. Again, once we move to February, you will be able to select January 25 as the end date of your last historical year. Cameron, regarding due diligence, that's a new product that we're working on at the moment. This is something your dedicated CSM can help you explaining. Please, if you're interested in due diligence, send us a message as well. Just a quick summary on due diligence. This is a due diligence tool that we're working on. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to your CSMs so we can set up a quick demo and demonstration on how due diligence work. Any other question, guys, or something I can help you with at the moment? Good. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, give you just a couple more seconds to ask anything that you guys need. If not, I think we're going to be done with the masterclass as of today. I told you that this was going to be 30 minutes tops. So we did 29 minutes. Thank you very much for the time, guys. I hope that this session has been valuable to you. If you require a little bit more in-depth explanation or you want to expand on any of the topics that we have covered today, feel free to reach out to us, to your dedicated CSMs, so we can set up a quick feedback or support call with you and review any of the features that you have seen, or we can discuss any of the features that we're planning to implement. These are planned. They are not committed yet, so please just thank you, David, for that. Let us know if we can help with anything else, and thank you for the time again, guys. I hope to see you again in the next masterclass. To all of the guys that are on the users that are my users, please let me know on email if you need help with anything else or if I can help you with further explanations. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye, guys.